Good morning, councillors. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome the Alderman Leon van Wyk, Alderman Petrus, Alderman van Niekerk, and all the councillors as well as the public to this council meeting of the 25th of August. Without any further ado, can I please ask that Councillor Du Toit open for us in prayer, please?
I'll do it with pleasure, Speaker. Let's bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, we come to do today to you with gratefulness in our hearts. Lord, thank you for your presence wherever we go, and thank you that you are always available when we need you. And we need you this day for our council meeting, that you will give us the insight, and Lord, so that you will refresh our minds, so that we will work according to your plan, to prosperous your people that's living in George, in our city. And I'm praying for the speaker, that you will enlighten him with special insight, Lord, and that you will bless our mayor, our deputy mayor, all the MACO, and all the councillors, and all the staff of George Municipality. Let this day be a day that we will rejoice in you, and so that you will be glad over us, Lord. Bless us now. It's my prayer in the name of Jesus Christ, and I thank you for it. Amen.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Sorry, I omitted to mention welcoming Elder Lady Kritzinger in my previous statement, so I'd like to welcome her as well. I'd like to then start off with item 2 and hand over to the Executive Mayor. Sorry, we have... We seem to have it. Can we try that again? Okay, thank you very much. We had a bit of a glitch there. Without too much, I'm going to hand over to the Executive Mayor for the mayoral address. Alderman Leon van Wyk, you may proceed.
Good morning, Speaker. Am I audible?
You are.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Speaker. Good morning. Good morning, Speaker, Alderman, Deputy Mayor, Chief Whip, Councillors, Municipal Manager, Directors, officials, members of the public and the media. Although we are only 2 months into Am I audible now? Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Speaker, Alderman, Deputy Mayor, Chief Whip, Councillors, Municipal Manager, Directors, officials, members of the public and the media. Although we are only 2 months into the new financial year, it is now the time when capital projects need to be accelerating to ensure completion by year end. As of the 23rd of August 2023, the amount of the capital budget already spent and orders already committed is 80 million out of the 1,023 million rand that needs to be spent in this current financial year. In other words, about 8%. Out of this amount, 34 million relates to civil and engineering services and 33 million to electrotech. It is important to note that our capital budget, as I've mentioned, is 1,023 million rand. Believe I'm not audible.
Sorry, Mayor, can you raise a voice, man? You can't hear you, Mayor. Sorry, man. Can you raise a voice?
Is that better? just going to
Yes,
turn
Mayor, that's better.
the sound up. Can you? Okay, good. Thank you very much. It is important to note that our capital budget for 23-24 is 1,023 million, which is the largest amount of spending to be undertaken in the history of George. This will require very diligent focus from the top structure within the directorates, including engineering, project management, right through to the finance team. The Mako team members therefore need to ensure that they monitor and encourage the progress of these projects. We need to ensure that we have sufficient technical personnel to execute the work. It is useful for us to reflect on the top 10 major project spending areas totaling 352 million to be undertaken in this financial year. Now that includes the extension of the waterworks, which is 117 million rand. The 9 megawatt renewable energy project, where 42 million is due to be spent in this year. The Pacalsdorp 14.5 megaliter reservoir and 2.4 megaliter water tower, which is 35 million rand. There are new transformers, 20 MVA transformers going into Glenwood for 25 million rand. There's pipework rehabilitation at the Garden Route Dam for 21 million rand. We've got filter sand at the waterworks, which is an amount of 21 million rand. We're also installing smart water meters to the value of 20 million rand in this year. And then at the Pacalsdorp East water reservoir, the tower and the pump station for 19 million rand is what will be spent there in the current year. At Thembeletu East reservoir, tower and pump station, another 18 million rand will be spent. We are busy with a renewables feasibility study for 18 million rand and the Kaiman's water pump station rehabilitation for 16 million rand. So those are just the largest amounts that we are dealing with. And I think, as everybody will note, that these projects then focus heavily on the BFI projects that are funded through the RBIG grant and also electricity. These are the largest components, as I mentioned, with another 670 million rand that's spread across the rest of the projects being worked on. It is useful to note that of the 465 million rand in BFI grant funding that has been received so far out of the 1.1 billion, 336 million has already been spent, with 120 million that is unspent at 30 June 2023. At the end of March, we received 134 million rand after we'd made application in July 22 for an acceleration in grant funding. Due to the late confirmation that we would receive this funding, it now forms part of the rollover item that has been tabled in the adjustment budget today. During this financial year, we are due to receive another 375 million rand on the BFI grant, followed by 275 million in the 24-25 year. A number of our projects have been adversely affected by the amount of rain during the January to June period, where in some months we received 100 millimeters of rain and 200 millimeters of rain in May. At Electrotech, various substation projects are underway, focusing on upgrades as well as the strengthening of the network. As an example, this includes the new Thembeletu substation, which will be commissioned later in this financial year. The informal settlements electrification program was also delayed by the rains and muddy conditions, and we're going to have 2 of those settlements that will be switched over onto electricity by the end of September, and another one shortly thereafter. Upgrades on the medium voltage and low voltage networks are also underway in order to normalize some areas which were significantly impacted by storms and historic floods. If I turn to the PV solar projects, the motor vehicle registration building, the tourism building, and the electrotechnical services building systems have already been commissioned, so they are able to operate on PV solar. The Outeniqua wastewater treatment plant is planned for commissioning on the 31st of August. The Hwang wastewater treatment works project, here the contractor has been appointed and construction will resume soon in order to complete this within the financial year. The 1 megawatt peaking project is currently underway, and there are a number of last approvals. Once we receive them, then the construction will resume. The 9 megawatt peaking plant is currently in the EIA processes, with the final public participation process in September. Regarding the battery energy storage project, the specifications are almost complete, and these tenders should be advertised by mid-September 23. Now, that battery energy storage will entail a total of approximately 4.8 megawatt that is going to be installed. If I then turn to high mast lighting projects, 30 high masts have been installed and commissioned in the last financial year with the support of MIG funding. Municipal funding is catered for another 5 high masts in Buckelsdorp, Conville, Rosemore, Blanco, and Uniondale, with their switch-ons due soon. The Airports Company of South Africa has donated high mast lights that are being prepared for the following areas. That is Parkdean Stadium, Thembeletu Stadium, Croton Valley, and also in the vicinity of Jacaranda Street in Buckelsdorp. And hopefully that we can switch those on by October 23. The project to retrofit street lights as well as install newly designed steel poles is continuing. So that is a newly designed steel pole then for street lights. At Community Services, 8.4 million rands worth of work is underway at Community Safety, particularly in relation to the fibre network for CCTV cameras. It is worthwhile noting that we are beginning to experience significant advances in the detection of criminal activity through our CCTV camera network, and that is already leading to apprehensions. At Sport Maintenance, 1.6 million rands worth of work is about to be undertaken, including work on the Buckelsdorp Stadium Pavilion roof. The procurement of additional vehicles at refuse is also underway. I will now turn to the operating budget. And if one has a look at the Section 71 report for July, it indicates that our debtors have reached 527 million rand, which reflects a 25.5% increase from 420 million rand in July 2022. And I think, as Council will note, this is a considerable increase. Over the 0 to 90-day period of outstanding debtors, the debtors are 218 million rand for that period of time, which is an 18.5% year-on-year increase from 184 million rand a year ago. These figures reflect the seriousness of the debt collection drive that our administration is compelled to undertake to ensure the continued financial viability of the municipality. As Council, we fully support the efforts that are being implemented to collect outstanding debt. The CFO and his team will need to closely examine monthly collections against the billings and the overall 12-month average debt collection rate to ensure that collections are increased. If there are not meaningful increases in collections over the 4 months to December, we are going to have to reduce expenditure at the adjustment budget stage to compensate for lower collections. I would like to touch on a number of other topics of importance. Early in 2023, we facilitated the Planet Youth Project, where George is the pilot site on the African continent for working with our youth to understand more of the issues they face in their young lives, ranging from health and wellness, family and home life to harms, after hours activities, etc. An extensive survey was conducted with 6,400 learners across George in grades 8 and grade 9, with 92% of those learners completing the survey that they participated in. The outcomes will guide the way forward in supporting youth in this project, where the Western Cape Government's Department of Health, the Department of Education, also Social Development and Culture, Arts and Sport, as well as UCT and other partners are working together. The municipality will participate to facilitate some of the activities that could well be offered to the youth. We have also engaged with social entrepreneurial entities who wish to promote SMME development projects here in George. We have recently engaged at ministerial level with the Western Cape Department of Education to actively seek solutions for additional schooling facilities in George. Over the ensuing weeks and months, we intend collaborating to ensure that additional high and primary schools can be secured for George, hopefully in the short term. The Premier's Council on Skills recently met in Knysna to roll out the Western Cape Government's Growth for Jobs strategy to grow the Western Cape economy into a R1 trillion economy by 2035. The work we are embarking upon in George to grow the economy dovetails with this strategy. One of the key features is that infrastructure is the key driver to attract investment, which then leads to increased levels of employment. In closing, I wish to express my gratitude to our management team and staff who continue to provide excellent services to our communities. In the next few days, the finance team will be finalizing the annual financial statements for the year ended 30 June 2023, ahead of handing these statements over to the Auditor General. We wish them well in these final days. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to hand over to the parties to give their comments now. The first party to speak is the ANC. You have 3 minutes, please.
Molo Speaker, molo ne-councillors ezibekekileyo, nomntu wonke ophakathi, ndithi ndiyanibulisa, enkosi. Speaker, okokuqala mandibulele i-march organisers zayizolo ezithe za-organizer i-march ibe-peaceful, ibingagcwelanga nobudlame, apho ke wonke umuntu ebezobonakalisa khona ukungaxoli. Mandibulele kubahlali bonke abathathe inxaxheba kwi-march yayizolo, abaphumileyo behamba i-12 kilometers ukuze town bazoveza iingxaki zabo. Ndithi mandibabulele because baziphathe ngendlela engaqhelekanga entle. Speaker, mandize Speaker, abahlali xa bekhalaza Speaker, akusuba bakhalazela kuba nesithukuthezi, kuba kudala sayizisa le nto kwezi zikhalazo. Ndifuna siziqaphele izikhalazo zayizolo bezizisiwe. La memorandum ibizile, ndifuna siyiqaphelisise kakuhle. Memorandum bakhala ngezinto ukunyuka ke-EMS, ukuxuthwa ke-EMS, unyuka ke-tariffs, ii-policies ezingaworkshopwayo kubahlali nakwii-councillors. Lo memorandum ke ndicinga Speaker funeke siyithathe serious. And kulo memorandum Speaker sinikiwe ixesha elingange-14 days okokuthi siphendule. So ndicela kula 14 days Speaker siphendule, kuba basonishile bathi ukuba siphendulanga nge-14 days ikhona into zokwenzeka. To avoid loo nto sibambe itawuni yethu intle inoxolo, ndicela siphendule. Benza banesicelo kumeya, ndibe nesicelo kwi-MM. Maske sizithi review ezi policies nezi resolutions bezithathwe yi-council kuba abantu babonakalisile ukuthi abakho happy zizo. Ndicela sizirevyuwishe. Noko andiqondi kukho into esinoyiluza xa siye sarevyuwisha ezo zinto, just sipolisa abahlali. And Speaker, iitawuni zethu zimdaka, mandiphinde ndithethe, iilokishi zethu zimdaka. Bonke neBodgers, akuthetheke eBodgers, kumdaka ukufa ingathi akuhlali bantu. Bonke nePadini, kumdaka Speaker, ingathi akuhlali bantu. eThembalethu kumdaka Speaker. I-water channels Speaker, kukhula ingca, kukhula isanti, kukhula imithi. Asisaziboni ngoku ne-water channels ukuthi ziphi na because amanzi agcwele esitratweni. La manzi xa megcwala kwi-paving Speaker. So siyacela Speaker, sicela sizithathele ingqalelo kwezo zinto zonke. Umeya ndamva uthetha ngokuthi ebezoyofakela umbane xa baphazanyiswa imvula. Ewe lo plan siyayazi, plan ekudala yikho.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor, your time is up, unfortunately. You've had your 3 minutes. I must caution you, though, that the replic on the mayor's speech needs to stay on point. You're addressing the speaker, and I'm going to ask for a translation. Please, Mr. Paulus.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, councillors. The councillor said, firstly, he'd like to thank the march of yesterday. That was a very peaceful march. It showed peace and no violence at all. So I'd like to thank the fellow community members who took part in participating in this peaceful march. Thank you very much, people of the community, and the way they behaved, and elderly people who had to walk kilometers to come and submit the memorandum. We are very much grateful. And Speaker, we must know that whenever there are community members are complaining, it is not to say that they do not have anything to do or they are wasting their time. But the reason there are complaints out there is because people are facing problematic problems, hence they are bringing it forth. Yesterday's memorandum must please be noted because it affected issues such as the aims, the tariffs, and the policies that were not workshopped and brought to our people in the communities. Hence, we ask, please let those issues be noted, and we have given, or you have been given, 14-day period to reply and respond. We are afraid if that period, or if consensus is not reached in that period, we are afraid that something might happen because the community members are not happy, but they behaved yesterday because it was the first march. Request the mayor and the MM, please, and Speaker, please let all policies be reviewed, because it seems like there's a lot of unhappiness, or it seems like there's a lot of discrepancies within the policies. Can they please be workshopped, because it won't be a waste of time if there's problems with the policies. Let them please be reviewed again. The other point that Councillor made was the locations. He says our locations are very, very much dirty. He mentioned Cornwall and Borges. It says Borges, it says if there are no people who are living there or staying there. Parkdean and Thembalethu as well. And he also mentioned the matter of the water channels. It says water channels are growing grass and trees. You can hardly recognize them when they are needed. Please take note of all these things, Mr. Mayor, so that we can be, so that the people's cry can be noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paulus. Having listened to the translation, I need to ask the councillors that are replying or having speaking terms that the reply to the mayoral address is being addressed and not anything else. And I'm going to ask you to please stay on track. We cannot have parties giving their own speeches. The idea of these speaking turns is purely to address items which the mayor has spoken about in his speech. I'm going to ask that you please adhere to this. And the next party to speak on this item is the Good Party. You have 3 minutes, please.
Goeiemôre almal. Speaker, die meie adresseer nie die woord kragtariewe, armoede en werkloosheid effektief nie. Die burgemeester is glad nie op dieselfde bladsy as die duisende deernisgevalle waar mense se krag afgesny word in die wintertyd nie. Invordering van skuld word nou ernstig gedoen by ons minder bevoorregte gemeenskap. Ek wonder maar net hoeveel word ingevorder by besighede en ander wat duisende skuld. 'n tannie koop 10 rand se krag en kry sy 1.5 eenhede, maar sy lê met 'n siek dogter Ilansana en ek dink dit is onmenslik. As goed gaan ons aanhoudend beklei vir 'n beter lewe vir ons mense. Dit gaan net meer intensief wees. Ons is nou al moeg van dieselfde storie van die meie wat nie ons mense se klaagliedere antwoord nie. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paulus.
Thank you, Speaker. Uthi-ke i-address okanye intetho kaSodolophi ayibingasulungekanga ngoba kaloku ibingathethi nengxaki esijongene nazo kuluntu. Uthethe malunga namatyala amaninzi abantu bethu, futhi ke abantu abadala nabantu abangathathi ntweni abazibona bekuwo. Futhi ke uwenze umzekelo malunga nomama omdala othenga umbane nge-10 rand afumane 1.5 units abe ehlele nentombi egulayo nayo engakwazi ukumphangelela. Uthi ke imiba enjena ebilindeleke uba uSodolophu ayi-address kodwa ikhangeleke ngathi uthetha ngeminye imiba angayibandakanye le mika. Uthi futhi ke sidiniwe thina yile ntlalo kungoko ke sisithi sisanele. Enkosi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paulus. The next party to speak on this item is the PBI. PBI, you've got 3 minutes, please.
Mr. Speaker, we listened to the mayor's mayoral address, and he outlined some capital projects to the value of 1,023 million rand. He noted in his mayoral address that the engineering and top structure needs to look at this budget and spend it according to the King principles, which is effective, efficient, and economical. However, we would like to note and we would like to ask that the needs of the poorest of the poor needs to be included in this budget. For far too long, our people have suffered where your budget was not pro-poor, and the services rendered in our poor communities does not equate to the services that is rendered in the affluent areas. Secondly, Mr. Mayor, you spoke about smart water meters, where 20 million rand was budgeted for this financial year. However, there is deficiencies with these water meters as you try to correct it with media statements, where 1,081 of these meters that was installed was faulty due to a female connector that was not included in the original budget. We would like to know, as the contractor who got the bid, did he include these female contractor connections in his bid, or is this going to be an extra burden on the taxpayer of George? Mr. Mayor, you made mention of the 465 million rand of the BIF grant, where 336 million was spent and 120 million was not spent. So services are not being delivered to the poorest of the poor again. You made mention of 134 million that was received in March, and that is part of fiscal dumping that happened in George municipality. Now we must roll over these funds, and we cannot envisage that the services to the poorest of the poor will be benefited. Mr. Mayor, you made mention of high rainfalls for the period January to June, and that is why most of the projects could not be concluded. Yet, emergency tariffs are staying in place in George, and our people are paying 1.5 times the tariff that should be paid for water. Your tariffs structure explicitly says that emergency tariffs will be lifted in the conditions if the conditions consistently remain above the emergency tariff water category level for a period of 3 months. Our Gowdenry Dam has been overflowing since March of this year, yet our people are still paying the higher tariffs. When will you lower these tariffs so that we can be allowed to pay for water at the tariffs that we are supposed to pay? Mr. Mayor, you made mention of the...
Thank you, Councillor. Your 3 minutes is up. I'm going to ask the next party to speak is the EFF.
Mr. Speaker, please take your time.
Councillor Peterson, I ask you to please refrain from interrupting. I'm going to continue now with the EFF. He has 3 minutes, please.
Enkosi Somlomo, siyabulela ndibulise eBhungeni kwinkokheli zonke. Mr. Speaker, thina CEFF we take note of Ilandu's mayoral address. Siyabona okokuba i-122,000 million ye-capital budget asixelela ngayo umeya. Kwaye ke siyaqaphela okokuba zininzi ke izinto ezikhankanyiweyo ukuyehlahla ke imali le ye-capital budget. Somlomo, kwicala le-energy uthethe umeya nge-42 million. Singayaziyo okokuba ispendwe njani ngoluphi uhlobo kwicala ke le-energy. Kwaye ke siyaqaphela okokuba ukhankanya into ye-21 million eya kwi-pipe rehabilitation, of which ke nayo asiyiboni ubunyani bayo kwicala ke lokusebenzela uluntu lwethu, ngoba siyaqaphela okokuba amanzi kwiilokishi esihlala kuzo ahamba kancinci. Siyayazi okokuba nizawubalekela kwinto yokokuba kukho i-load shedding ephazamisana ke nezinto ezidibene ke nokusebenzisa umbane. Kwaye ke siyaqaphela napha emanzini ke eziba ogxa sebetshilo apha ke ii-tariffs zingamandla kakhulu. Kwaye ke usodolophu uyakhankanya okokuba amanzi imvula ina ngamandla apha eGeorge, kwaye ke izinga ke lamanzi kumadama ethu noko lingapha kokuqonda. Utsho ukuthi sinawo amanzi. Nathi ke sizama ukuthi ke siyijongile into okokuba ii-tariffs ezi zamanzi zinyukile, kwaye ke ukuya kwi-water landuza meters ikhampani le isebenzela umasipala isebenza njengelanduza nge-agent okanye ke i-contractor le ifumene loo tender ayizithathi ngokufanelekileyo ke ilanduza imeter landuza i-meter numbers kwii-meter box zokuhlala. Loo nto ibangela okokuba abantu bakuthi ke basokole kakhulu kwicala ke lokutyala umasipala, ibangela amatyala abo aphakame kakhulu. So ndizama ukuthi ke sizijongile into ezikumila kunjalo, siye kwicala ke le-high mask ezi zingasebenziyo. Ii-high mask ezi zisandofakwa azisebenzi ngendlela, kwaye ke i-cost yazo ingapha komlinganiselo for okokuba abantu bakuthi bahlale ebumnyameni. Nokuya kwi-street lights ezithethwe ngazo okokuba ezawuinstolwa ezintsha, sizawuqaphela apha ethemba lethu. Nelson Mandela.
Thank you, Councillor. Your 3 minutes is up. And I'm going to ask for Mr. Paulus to do the translation, please.
Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker.
Can you please allow a person to say 5 minutes later that the person can be aware, not just cut off a person while a person is speaking?
Councillor Kampi, I'm going.
Not right.
Councillor Kampi,
that is not right.
Councillor Kampi, that is going to be your first warning. Do not interrupt me when I'm talking, please. And you have not been acknowledged. And the time allocated is 3 minutes, and that is what I'm sticking to.
Allocated 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. We're going to move.
You gave me only 2 minutes.
Councillor, I gave everybody 3 minutes, so please do not speak any further until we've recognized you, please. Thank you. Please, we have the translation.
The councillor greetings, all leaders. We as the EFF, we take note of the mayoral address that was addressed here today. We see that the mayor made note of 122 million, which is in the capital budget that the mayor referred to, or he made mention of, but we do not know what is, or we do not know where the budget went. He also made mention in energy side 42 million rand. We do not know how it benefits our people, because according to us, this does not benefit our people. And also mention about the water tariffs that are extremely high, of which our people are having a problem with it. It seems like there's a problem with our water because our water system is very slow. Also made mention about the heavy rains that we are experiencing in George. We've got a very heavy rain, which means that we do not have a problem with our water. We have sufficient water in our water tanks. Therefore, we do not understand why the high tariffs in our water bills. You also made mention about the company that has been sourced to make or to take the meter from the meter numbers, which is incorrect. It's always incorrect. Hence, our water tariffs or our water bills for our people are always high. That is a problem, and that needs to be noted as well. And it also made mention about the highlights that are not working the way they're supposed to be working, and it is becoming a problem in our communities. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Collins. The next party to speak on this item is the PA. You have 3 minutes, please. Sorry, I believe that the council is not available. That's the leader talking. I'm therefore going to ask that the next is the coalition. You have 3 minutes, please.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, and thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to commend our mayor for that comprehensive presentation and analysis. It is heartening to see such transparency and clarity, which greatly aids our shared goals of serving the community to the best of our ability. Mr. Speaker, allow me just to reply on a few comments made. Firstly, Councillor Tondini, yes, we are thankful and we take note of the peaceful march, specifically in lighting with the recent taxi violent protest in Cape Town and also the protest in Swellendam. Mr. Speaker, there was also...
You're breaking up.
Can you hear me now? Mr. Speaker, can you hear me now?
Councillor, you are breaking up. I just need to...
All right, Mr. Speaker, can you hear me now?
Yes, you may go ahead.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I just want to mention to Councillor Tondini, he referred to the policies that reviewed. We've done policy reviews, and there was the public participation process were done as prescribed. Council also mentioned with regards to
Councillor Johnson, you are definitely breaking up. I don't know whether the signal where you are is not correct.
Sorry, no breakup from my side, Speaker.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. It seems that my device was muted, but nonetheless, with regards to the public participation process, it was done as prescribed. We've also rolled out the My Smart City app, where complaints can be logged. And with regards to cleaning up of illegal dumping, where the municipality is spending millions with regards to that, where we can use that funding for other municipal services. Then the question from Councillor Lowe, the credit control is done according to the policies, and that is basically in line with the National Treasury requirements. The policy was also approved by this very council. Councillor Peterson referred to the water meters. Mr. Speaker, any defects that was on the water meter was being resolved by that contractor and is not the account of the municipality. It's very important to note with regards to the water restriction that George is currently have is that it's not an issue of raw water, a shortage of raw water, but it's rather the production of purification of water. It's important to note that the concrete works will be done for the new water.
Die Meyer antwoord, hoekom nie dan die councillors antwoord?
Councillors, I have
Mr.
not acknowledged anybody. Please, thank you. Can you continue, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So the concrete works will be done by February 2024 and the mechanical work will be done by December 2024. During that process, we will continue to have water restrictions due to the purification shortage that we have. It's also important to note that the high electricity tariff were only increased by 14.75%, and that was approved by NERSA. And that a lot of the electrical challenges is due to the Eskom load shedding that the municipality is struggling with. The George municipality also gives 70 units free basic electricity, where the norm is the 15 units which other municipalities is doing. We've also spending 8.4 million on community safety. And I wish to highlight the fact that with regards to this budget is not pro-poor. We're spending a lot of fundings in the Pakkersdorp, the Thembalethu, and Conville areas, referring to HIMARS. And if we look at the adjustment budget, Mr. Speaker, there's a lot of projects in those areas. Also taking in consideration the free basic units of electricity with regards to indigenous. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to say that the Mayor's address only reaffirms our collective commitment to making George a model city. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillors, I'm going to ask you for the last time. Nobody interrupted you when you had an opportunity to speak, and I'm therefore asking for the same discipline for everybody else. That concludes the mayoral address. I'm going to now continue to item.
But Speaker, can you stop bullying us? You are bullying us when I Speaker, because now.
Councillor Kampe, I've now spoken to you once and I gave you a warning, and you seem to disregard everything I say to you. I'm now giving you your second warning, and the meeting hasn't even started. Please do not, and I'm going to reiterate, do not interrupt when we are talking and until you are recognized. I'm going to continue.
Speaker, but you interrupt us if we...
Councillor, it is my job. It is my job to keep this order in this council meeting. So please, do not. I've been
raising my hand for a while now.
And you know the process, Councillor. I will recognize your hand when you put your issue in the chat box, and there is no at this stage of the game. We haven't even started the meeting, so please put it in the chat box. I'm going to. Councillor Camille, I am not going to let this meeting go into a display.
Ja, maar Speaker, die twee stellen reels voor ons raadsleden.
Councillors, it's very clear. Read the rules of order. And I'm going to say this again. I'm continuing with the applications for leave and attendance. Please continue with the roll call.
Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, everybody. Councillor Adams.
Morning, everyone. Goeiemôre, Gijs, I'm present.
Councillor Alexander.
Goeiemôre.
Councillor America.
Good morning, President.
Councillor Barnard.
Good morning, President.
Councillor Brown.
Morning, Rosemary, present.
Councillor Carolus.
Good morning, President.
Good morning, President. Councillor Clark.
Good morning, Rosemary, I'm present. Thank you.
Councillor Cronje.
Here, present.
Councillor Du Toit.
Ek is teenwoordig, Rosemary, dankie.
Councillor Esau.
Teenwoordig, goeiemôre.
Councillor E.D. Vegland.
Good morning, Rose, present.
Councillor R.G. Vegland.
R.G. Vegland, present. Good morning, everybody.
Councillor Fry.
Goeiemôre Rosemary, goeiemôre collega's. Onthou, dit is die dag wat die Here gemaak het. God se genade, vrede vir die huis.
Alderman Gericke.
There was an apology submitted, Rosemary.
Thank you. Councillor Gom. Councillor Greef.
He's coming.
Sorry.
Councillor Gom is present, but I'm using Councillor Lando's device. Mine is with IT. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Greef.
Goeiemôre, Rosemary, teenwoordig.
Councillor Gultik.
Good morning, Councillor Gultik, present. Thank you.
Councillor Hani.
Councillor Hani is present.
Councillor Jansen.
Goeiemôre, teenwoordig.
Councillor Jantjies.
Morning, I am.
Councillor Jay.
Goeiemôre, teenwoordig. Rosemary, dankie.
Councillor Johnson.
Good morning, present.
Councillor Kleinhans.
Goeiemôre, Roos, collega's, teenwoordig.
Alderman Kritzinger.
Morning, colleagues, and everybody else. Ms. Bredenkamp, I'm present.
Councillor Kruger.
Good morning, I'm present.
Councillor Lento.
Good morning, I'm present. Thank you.
Councillor Losi.
Good morning, everyone. Losa is present.
Councillor Lowe.
Goeiemôre, almal present, Rosemary.
Councillor Maqele.
Good morning, I'm present. Oh, Monokale too.
Councillor Mbete.
Morning, my Rose, I'm present.
Councillor Etim Jaka.
Good morning, everyone. Councillor E.T. Ndaka is present. Thank you.
Councillor F. Ndaka.
She apologized. She's ill, Rosemary.
Thank you. Councillor Mkuli.
Councillor Mkuli.
Councillor Nakamele.
Councillor Ncamile present, Marose. Molweni. Hey, Mr. Speaker, I've got us with scrotum.
Councillor, please, Councillor.
Councillor Neetling.
Ek is teenwoordig. Goeiemôre, dankie.
Councillor Niels.
Môre Niels teenwoordig.
Councillor Ntondini.
Councillor Zaparaya is present.
Councillor Peterson.
Councillor Peterson teenwoordig met nog so 30 sekondes van sy tyd oor.
Alderman Petrus.
Môre collega's, teenwoordig.
Councillor Philander.
Good morning, present.
Councillor Katana. Councillor Kampi. Councillor Roose.
Good morning, Rose. I'm present. Good morning, everybody.
Councillor Cyphers.
Present. Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning,
Councillor Summers.
Summers present.
Councillor Smart.
I have an apology for Councillor Smart. He's ill.
Thank you. Councillor Snyman,
I'm present. Thank you, Rosemary.
Councillor Skandel,
Good morning, Rosemary. I'm present.
Councillor Chocho, Alderman Van de Kerk,
Good morning, Rosemary. Everybody, I'm present. Thank you.
Alderman Van Wyk,
Good morning, Rosemary. I'm present. Thank you.
Councillor von Brandes,
Present, Rosemary. Thank you.
Councillor Foster, Councillor Wessels,
Present, Rosemary. Thank you.
Councillor Van Wyk.
Goeiemôre, Rosemary teenwoordig.
Thank you, Speaker.
Sorry,
Hello.
Rosemary. Sorry,
Thank
Rosemary.
you.
I was present, but I was muted, so I couldn't
Councillors,
respond.
councillors, thank you. I'm going to ask that anybody that did not have the opportunity to answer their name to please put it in the chat box. We have had roll call, and I'm going to be moving on to item 4, which is the disclosure of interest by councillors, item 6 of the Code of Conduct for councillors, and disclosure of benefits by municipal staff members, item 5 of the Code of Conduct for municipal staff members. Can we please have anybody anything to declare, please? I see no hands. I'm going to move on. I therefore take it there's none. The next item is item 5, confirmation of the minutes of the previous meetings. Item 5.1, minutes of the ordinary e-council meeting held on the 27th of July. Could I have a proposer and a seconder, please?
Brown proposes.
Roos a second.
Thank you very much. We then move on to item 6, which is questions of which notice has been given. I've received none. Item 7.1, minutes of the e-mail committee meeting held on the 19th of June 2023 for information. Could somebody note that, please?
Barnett will note.
Thank you very much. We move on to item 7.3, minutes of the special e-mail committee meeting held on the 30th of June 2023 for information. Could I have someone to note that, please?
Von Brandes notes.
Noted, Speaker.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the item 8, reports of the mayoral committee held on the 10th of August 2023. The first item on the agenda is the acquisition of ARF 18486 as part of the measures to upgrade the existing stormwater system in George South to reduce the risk to properties due to the consequence of severe rainfall events. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor von Brandes. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Speaker. This item is to consider the acquisition of ARF 18486 as part of the measures to upgrade the existing stormwater system in George South to reduce the risk to properties due to the consequences of severe rainfall events. A funding application for Municipal Disaster Recovery Grant was submitted in 24 December 2021. We subsequently got the funding. A total funding for the George South stormwater amounts to 63 million. The municipality then appointed Zutaria on the 10th of June 2022 for the upgrading of the George South stormwater infrastructure and the first phase to attempt to alleviate the consequences of the severe rainfall events in George South. The project scopes consider out of 4 specific things that is highlighted in the item. On page 205, you will see the proposed detention facility is proposed upstream from ARF 18486, or better known as 2 York Street. However, during a larger rainfall events, the detention facility will be allowed to overtop at the emergency overflow point, causing stormwater to overflow into the road reserve, also known as Hope Street. On page 206, you will see the property referred to and recognize the house shown when the NSRI has had to come rescue the residents via a lifeboat. A market-related valuation was done on the property of 2,130 Rand a square meter, and this gives us a total of 1.8 million for the property. Previous discussions with the owner has indicated his willingness to accept the offer to sell, as he is currently struggling with insurance and has previously put the property up for sale, but due to the George residents knowing the situation with the property, the market is unwilling to buy the property. I therefore propose the recommendation on page 209A to G. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is the ANC. You have 2 minutes, please.
Mandibulise Speaker. Thina si-ANC siyibekela iliso lento yoba ngoku kukhona ingxaki zesitomota kweli cala lingasetawuni. Ukudala siripota ingxaki zokubhloka kwezitomota, sikhala sithi ngase ezi pipelines zilungiswe apha eThembalethu, but ngoku xa kukhona imali ekhoyo kuyaqala kuyabalekwa kuyolungiswa, kukhutshwa imali yabo elungiselelwayo. So isicelo sethu ke kukuba kungaqwalaselwa calanye xa kulungiswa ezinto. Siyacela zilungiswe ezinto nalapha kule Thembalethu yethu. Ndinomzekelo we-Zone 6 Thembalethu o-778 iblokelwa oko nedrip. So la line imbi kakhulu, tufowuna 5 times uncedwa malunga nezicelo. Xa sigqiba kuncedwa kuphinde kubhlokwe sinye. So sinaloo ngxaki eThembalethu, but ke sithe nqa ke ngoku xa sibona xa isenzeka ngapha ikhalazo olungiswa ekubeni kudala sikhalaza. Nomzekelo wekontrakt ejike seyisebenza phaya eWard 10 uKhansila Gumbi. Sine-construction esiyilindileyo phaa ebingathi izawujonga abaphayiphi esingayazi uba iphelele. So Speaker, siyacela ibhajethi xa niyikhupha for ulungisa izinto ze-service delivery maze ujonga calanye. Ndiyabona ke ngathi nibetha ngoyaba nale match yayizolo. Niyibona uba iGeorge iyazamazama, iyashukuma for i-service delivery engahambi kakuhle. Nithi ke uKhansila Ntondi akathethi into straight xa ngabe ethetha le nto ebisenzile izolo. Khanizithatheni serious into zethu. Inkosi kakhulu.
Thank you, Speaker. The councillor's line was very bad, so I could hardly hear him. Mr. Greetings, councillors. As the ANC, now we are taking note of this issue that whenever there are problems of storms water in town or in the CBD, now you take note of it. But we have been complaining of the sewerage lines and the problem of the storm water that we are facing in Thembalethu, but no funds were made available. But now that there are funds available, funds are being allocated now because the problems are coming from the George. Now, we have been having a problem in Zone 7 where there's a consistent blockage, but the problem is not yet sorted out. And there was a contractor that was supposed to start working on this site, but that project has been stopped. We have since been waiting for the response of that. And now that there's budget, you want to allocate it to town, because the budget is for the service delivery for the greater George at large, not just for certain areas. And I hope you took note of the march of yesterday. Now that you say what Councillor Ntondini has said, it's not regarding the mayoral address, but those are issues and concerns that we have as a community, and you should take note of them. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Johnson. Councillor Johnson, you have 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just wish to highlight that this is one of the stormwater issues that's been handled with regards to the funding received from the Disaster Management Center, or for the disaster funding received in the later stage of the last financial year. Mr. Speaker, I just like to second the proposal made by my colleague, Councillor Van Branders, as it is on page 209. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The item therefore carries, and we'll move on to item 8.2, revision of council decisions on the proposed relocation of South Cape College main campus to a portion of the remainder of R464 George, situated on the old airport road. And the first person to speak on this item is Councillor Wessels. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Yes, an application was received from South Cape College for the acquisition of a portion of the remainder of 464, and that's situated alongside the old airport road. And Council will remember that a MOU was then signed on the 6th of August 2014. The approval was subject thereto that transfer of municipal land may only proceed after written confirmation has been received at that stage, and that sufficient funds is available for the facility. Then on the 29th of July 2020, Speaker, a virtual meeting was held with the former principal of South Cape College, Ms. Elsie Potgieter, and her delegation and the municipality. It was at that meeting where the municipality was informed that due to exceptional circumstances caused by the emergence of COVID-19, the funding for the erection of the new George campus was then subsequently cancelled. Speaker, it was then when the municipality and South Cape College started engaging, and as an alternative, the EXCO of South Cape College requested the municipality to either provide the college with a smaller portion of usable land linked to the existing land, or to provide the college with other options of land available in George to be donated, and then there will be no exchange or swap. And as a last resort, they requested to buy a smaller piece of land from George municipality. It is with that backdrop, Speaker, that I would like to propose the recommendations as per the agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is the ANC. The ANC, you have 3 minutes, please.
Molweni nonke Speaker, 3 minutes. Speaker, okokuqala masibulele si-ANC sayixhasa le recommendation kwaye sisithi mayiqhubekeke ngezizathu ezithi kulaa mhlaba ikholeji na ubangela okokuba mayiwuluze ngenxa yokokuba imali yajikayo ngenxa yeemeko ze-COVID. Umasipala wadlala noko qatha kakhulu. Kodwa ke sisithi ke ngoku into eyenzekayo mabanikwe omnye umhlaba nomhlaba oshiyekileyo phaa ukuze aba bantu nabanikayo laa mhlaba kwisiqephu esingasebenziyo ikholeji ifumane. Okwesibini, ezaa buildings zase-South Cape kwi-George campus azikwazi ukuba zitshintshwe njengoba benivile okokubana uprinsipali uMrs Tebula beyibekile okokuba ngoku baza kokha eminye imigangatho ngenxa yenyathelo lathathwa ngumasipala lokuba vimba ithuba. Kwaye xa nisijongile siyayibona okokuba ezaa building izabambi kakhulu. Kodwa ke ngokuyona nto siyithethayo sisithi yenzani umhlaba ngoku ube khona kwaye funeka ngoku nikhuphe yonke imihlaba ekhoyo so that sizowujonga okokuba ikholeji le mayinikwe endawo ngoba lilungelo lokuba abantwana bakwazi ukufunda. Okunye umasipala okanye ufuna okokuba ngabana ikholeji iluze ezi mali okanye ezi zinto ziye kwabanye umasipala. Okwesibini, ndifuna okokuba niphendule okokuba ngabana ikholeji kule grant ibiyifumene kangimxelene umasipala okokuba ikhona enye imali efumanekileyo nokuba izawuza ngeziqephu ukwenzela okokuba ngabana kuvuselelwe esaa simangalo sokuqala okanye esaa sivumelano sokuqala. Loo nto yenze okokuba ngabana ikholeji mayibheke phambili, ikhulisa thuba eGeorge, iphakamisela iGeorge phezulu. Kuza imicimbi yesola, iikhosi eziza kwenziwa phaa zezi khosi zizawuadresa iimfuno sinazo zabantwana apha. Nawe ezo nto ngoku funa okokuba ngabana ngoku bazithathe bazizise kuwo. Oagri bebenikwe imihlaba for ukulima. Why aba indawo eza kukhulisa abantwana bethu nezawukhulisa izinga inganika umhlaba? Sifuna ke ngoku nithi thaca yonke imihlaba ekhoyo sizokwazi sijonge ngokokuba i-college funeka inikwe phi ukwenzela zonke ezimali zayo zingene apha okanye nifuna ukuba i-college banikeze imali ngenxa yokokuba ngabani banijika ndiyayicela okokuba ze niphendule naleyo nokuthi college ngexesha ifumana leni granti kweli xesha belibekiwe akange imxelele umasipala ngoku ikhona igranti ekhoyo ukwenzela okokuba ngabana esaa sivumelwano siphinde siqhubekeke ngoba laa mhlaba mkhulu kakhulu lo niwunike aba bantu nibanikileyo singabaziyo kodwa nivimba ithuba abantu abazawukhulisa even iGeorge uba ungajonga phaa even kwakwii-courses zakwenziwa phaa azange zibekho total le college izawuba yenye yeekholeji ezizakogqitha ezizaba ku-world class. Why umasipala engafuni ukwenza into erayithi ngekholeji?
Thank you very much, Councillor. Thank you very much. Your time is up. You've had your 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Could we have a translation, please?
Thank you, Speaker. We, as the ANC, we are in full support of this recommendation. That the land should be given to the college, or the portion of the land be given to the college, because we know that the college lost the land because of COVID reasons, of which it was a little bit unfair for the municipality to be doing that. We've seen in the report that has been given by the previous principal that suggested that there will be more buildings for the college, which cannot be changed, that we have heard and we've seen on the report that is in front of us today. What we are basically saying is that make land available for the college, because you are making land available for other things which we do not even know, for other people which we do not even know whom they are. But the most important thing is for you to be making land available for the college, because the college is here to develop our city. It is here to educate our children, and it is going to give a skill that is much needed for our children, because you are introducing the solar system, which the college will be of help, because these courses will be available in the college. So what we are basically saying that please make land available for the college. And there was a question that the councillor asked Speaker, but I was unable to catch the question because the speaker was too fast for me. I did not get the question. If maybe he can rephrase the question so that I can be able to translate it as said. Thank you, Speaker.
Can I come in, Speaker, with the questions?
The questions were supposed to have been submitted before the meeting. So I'm going to suggest that we then.
I did, but I know I was fast. You can re-listen, or you can listen again.
Councillor Ndaka, I'm busy talking. Councillor Ndaka, let me finish talking, please. Thank you. I was going to say any questions that need answering today need to be submitted before the time. I'm going to let you have 10 seconds to ask the question for interpretation purposes only. Okay, for interpretation purposes only, so I understand what it was. But I'm giving you 10, that is it, finished.
Speaker, the umbuzo wokuqala kokuba ngaba ngezi zenzo kwi-college ningayinika imihlaba niphinde baneluze ezimali. Okwesibini, ngeli xesha ibifumana enye igranti akange inixelele masipala uba nantsi igranti ikhona ngoku. Yabona?
Thank you. Please, can you just translate that? We're not going to give an answer today. I'm doing this purely for the translation purposes. Mr. Pollis, could you please just translate that last section and we'll move on.
Yes, Speaker, I think the first question was, let me rather start by the second question. When the college got the grant, didn't they tell you now they've got funding so that you'll be able to give them the land? I think that was the last question. The first question is, do you want the college to lose the land again?
Okay, thank you. That is
the funding.
Sorry, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. That has been translated, and bearing in mind that the item will not be answered here. That is a rhetorical question because I did not receive anything before the time. Thank you. I'm going to move on to the last speaker on this item, and the next speaker at least, and that's Councillor Lowe. You have 30 seconds as per the speaker's list.
Dankie Speaker. Speaker, hierdie besluit was reeds in 2018 geneem. Vandag moet dit teruggetrek word. Wat ook al die rede is, in die eerste plek kon dit vroeër gebeur het om geld en tyd te spaar. In die tweede plek was dit 'n DEA besluit om 'n deal te doen wat nou backfire. Ons neem kennis hoe die besluite van die DEA raad ons mense benadeel. Dankie Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker. Uthi esigqibo sathathwa ngonyaka ka-2018 ngoku ke ngoku sihleli naso apha kule council kufuneka nangoku kuphinde kuthathwe isigqibo. Uthi ke okwesibini nazi izinto ezenzekayo xa i-DA ithi yona ithathe izigqibo ziya-backfire okanye zibuyela umva kufuneka phina ngoku siphinde singenelele ngoba izigqibo bayazenzela futhi bayazithathela. Enkosi.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Krief. You have 1 minute, please, from the PBI.
Dankie Speaker. Speaker, ons as die PBI steun die verskywing van die Suid-Kaap College na Air 464 te George geleë in langs Old Airport Road. Ons redes is as volg. Die Suid-Kaap College bedien in die meeste gevalle die mees agtergeblewene gemeenskappe. Ons kinders word al reeds as las op hulle het om in Brandstraat uit te kom. Die PBI sien ook dat daar 'n voorstel is om die bestaande collegegebouwe in die Brandstraat te verruil vir Air 464 te Oud Airport Road. Ons as die PBI sê as die DA en sy koalisievennote die Suid-Kaap Collegegebouwe so verwaarloos soos die hostelgebouwe op die hoek van Mark en Meribamstraat strate, dan is dit radeloos en 'n fatale reiling. Hou die college in die middendorp. Baie van ons kinders stap soggens en smiddag na die college toe en terug dis nader as die Oud Airport Road.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Could we have a translation, please?
Thank you, Speaker. What did I say? PBI against isigqibo kanye ke asichasene nesisigqibo sokubana makwenziwe ngolu hlobo kwenziwa ngalo. Uthi okokuqala masithi izizathu zethu zithi iSouth Cape kaloku college i-college eseva i-community. Into ethetha ukuthi abantwana bethu bafunda khona futhi ke iluncedo kwi-communities ngoba kaloku iyakhawuleza ukufikeleleka futhi ke abantwana bethu abanye bayahamba ukuya khona. Uthi ke thina ke sithi si-PBI asisivumelane nesi sigqibo ngoba kaloku ngoku into eza kwenzeka esi sakhiwo sizawufana nala hostel yaseYork ime phaa ekoneni kwesasitrato ke athe wasikhankanya yona ethe yashiywa injeyana. Ngoku ke ngoku ufuna kwenzeke le nto ezinokwenzeka kwesi sakhiwo. Ngoku ke thina si-PBI asivumelane nesi sigqibo futhi ke abantwana bethu bayancedakala phaa eSouth Cape College. Nkosi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paulus. The last person to speak on this item is the Councillor Stander. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Speaker. The content of this item is self-explanatory. I herewith second this proposal of my colleague, Councillor Dirk Wessels. I thank you.
Thank you very much. This item therefore carries. We move on to item 8.3, the transfer of ERF 2211 Tylora to George Municipality for utilization for future community development programs. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor Wessels. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Yes, so this report to Council, or the purpose of this report, is to obtain Council's approval to approach the Western Cape, the Department of Infrastructure, for a request to transfer ERF 2211 Tylora to George Municipality, specifically for socio-economic purposes. It's also to make available a portion of ERF 2210 Tylora, which is currently part of the Thembalethu Sports Ground, for inclusion into the proposal of the Development Bank of South Africa. And then also to allow for the potential leasing of ERF 2211 and a portion of 2210 of Tylora to the Development Bank of South Africa. Speaker, I think this is a very exciting item. I think it's an item that shows the Council's commitment to advance socio-economic, to equip land for socio-economic purposes. And I really think this is a big step in the right direction. So I would propose the recommendation as per the agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wessels. The next person to speak on this item is the ANC. You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, good morning, Speaker, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Speaker, where's the ANC? We are in full support of this recommendation, as this will be a much needed economic empowerment for the community of a previously disadvantaged areas such as Thembalethu, because this will also encourage investments, which will which in turn will increase employment, or in stimulating the growth, etc. So based on these reasons, where's the ANC? We are in support of this. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Kampi. You have 1 minute.
Enkosi Speaker. Speaker, Tina, as EFF, socialism is one of our key points. Meaning umhlaba wonke ezandleni zabantu. But ke ngoku, as much as umhlaba wonke ezandleni zabantu, umhlaba must benefit the needs of a society. There are specific needs at the current situation. Now, nina into eniyenzayo niyacapitaliza ngemihlaba okokuqala. Niyasbrainwasha because ani-reflect in-needs the-youth yethu, ne-needs the-community yethu, nge-development elizana zeThembalethu. Nithi niyasidevelopa, yet asidevelopi. Each and every time youth there is very high unemployment rate yethu umhlaba lethu wonke ezandleni zabantu. Nina niyi-capitalist eba nisjonga i-benefit, because I know ukuthi yonke le program izayo le-development ezakwenzeka apha, there is some point ma 80% wala benefit awuyi ebahlalini, uya kuni masipala. Sixeleni uba i-development njani kuthi ezabahlali, because kaloku ekugqibeleni yonke into enenza supposed to be service delivery, not service taking. Ngoku nina ni-service ani-delivery, niyathatha qha nebhitana encinci abahlali abanayo naloo senti banayo niyabaxutha ngoku. Ngoke ngokuspeaker, as much as into apha ephepheni.
Thank you very much, Councillor. You had your 1 minute. Could I please have a translation?
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings from the EFF. I say as the EFF, we believe that socialism is one of our key points and that land belongs to the people and everybody needs to have land in their hands. Land must benefit the society and the community as large. That is what we believe in. But it seems like you are capitalizing now this land thing and you are making it your thing. And you are making it as if our people are going to benefit, because we are sitting with a huge number of unemployed youth in our communities, which need to be benefiting from this project. But it seems like 80% of the benefit of this project will be going to you. I know that our people in our community will not be benefiting at all from this project. So you are not delivering services, but we're actually taking away what belongs to our people. Therefore, we know that this project will not be used to benefit our people. Hence, you are capitalizing it for your own uses and own purposes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paulus. Sorry. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Adams. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. As the MMC of Sport, I fully support this item. This is part of our plan to make George the sports mecca of South Africa, and this also shows that we do care for our people in Thembalethu, and we do care for the sporting community in the whole of George, as soccer and sport is a unifying sport. Speaker, I'd like to support the recommendation as made by my colleague. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. That item therefore carries. We move on to item 8.4, the approval to waive development costs on Golden Valley housing projects. The first person to speak on this item is Alderman Petrus. You have 3 minutes, please.
Baie dankie, Speaker. Speaker, die item handel oor die kwytskelling van ontwikkelingskoste vir die Blanco wysingsprojek, of beter bekend as die Golden Valley projek. En die rede vir die kwytskelling, Speaker, is dat die regulasies wat bepaal dat daar bydrae moet wees vir ontwikkelingsbydraes vir grootmaatdienste eers in werking getree het nadat die projek beplan was en goedgekeur was. Daar was dus nie voorsiening gemaak vir hierdie onkostes nie. Sodoende die kontrakteur ook die voorsiening gemaak in provinsie nie. En om hierdie redes word dan gevra dat daar kwytskelding verleen word vir die ontwikkelingsbydraes vir grootmaatdienste. Ek vra ook dat die raad dan hierdie aanbevelings so aanvaar en goedkeur.
Thank you, Speaker. Alderman, basically the item iphaku 265 apho ichaza khona malunga nale project ese-Golden Valley apho siyaziyo sonke bakwenzeka ntoni malunga nentlawulo apho bengakhange balungiselelwe abantu bangakuhlawulwe khona. Ngoko ke kuloo nto kusenziwa isicelo ke sokuba kuphunyuzwe ukurhoxiswa kwentlawulo yomnikelo wophuhliso kule project yase-Golden Valley. Uthi ke i-recommendations iphaa page 265.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Gom, the ANC. You have 2 minutes, please. ANC, your time is running.
Njengo-ANC, siyayinota i-recommendation ku-page 265. But Speaker, asivumelani ne-recommendation thina. Ngoba into ye-project enyenzayo ngoku, if ndijonga kakuhle ziikhampani zintathu ngoku ezafuneka zigqibezelele project. Sinomokare, sine-PHP, sine-Manual project. I'm not sure which one. But if uSpeaker indlela enza kuqhuba ngayo lena ezumasipala waseGeorge, ukhona mhlambi umuntu apha phakathi kwena ongawenza kakuhle umsebenzi wakhe. And Speaker, sine-problem eGeorge, eGeorge Themba Lethu. Kunezindlu, if you can check from ePhelandaba to eAsazane ezingagqitywanga, especially eBhangalo, kunezindlu ekufuneka zenziwanga but imali ibhatelwe yona. I think it was 3.2 million for ezi zindlu but azigqitywanga. If usingaya eAsazane and check there, napha agqitywanga ezi zindlu. Ngoku sifuna uunderstand uba lo masipala ithini le-process yakhe ezi project, ngoba nine-project enithi zika-province, nine-project enithi zezenu. So siyacela kumasipala walapha eGeorge makabe constant azoyazi xa esenza izinto which one ezenziwa ngumasipala, which one zika-province, ngoba ngendlela enenza ngayo ingathi ngoku anifuna uzoku-akhawunta ebantwini. Eyakugqibela Speaker, le nto nenza Speaker siyayibona ndinobuqholo phakathi. Ngoba injongo zenu ngoku nifuna ukufumana i-kickbacks kwezi khampani nizonyulayo zintathu kuba siya ku-2024. So Speaker, siyacela umasipala waseGeorge makabe nayo indlela yokwenza izinto and us-understandise uba zeziphi ezika-province, zeziphi ezikamasipala. Ngoba ngoku indlela eniqhuba ngayo anifuni ukuba thina sikwazi uku-understanda ezi zinto zenu. And asimelanga Themba Lethu apha, simele iGeorge yonke. Even though ke abanye bethu becinga mhlambi ANC stand for.
Thank you, Councillor. Your time is up. You had your 2 minutes. And I'm going to ask for a translation, please.
Thank you, Speaker. The ANC, we as the ANC, we take note of the recommendation as stated on page 265. However, we are not in full agreement of the recommendation as stated, because it seems like there are 3 companies now who are sharing this project. He made mention of those 3 companies. If this is how you are dealing with matters in Georgia, then we are in big problem. It says that there's a housing project that had started in Phelandaba and Themba Lethu, but it seems like those houses were never even finished or fully built. And there were also houses that were built in Bangalo, but the project was never even finished. So we do not know what is going on. It spoke about the money that has been paid. Money that was being paid, but it seems like there's a problem with the finishing up of the project. We spoke about you letting us know or telling us which projects are George in-house projects and which projects belongs to the province, because it seems like whenever there's queries, you will refer them to the province and say there's a province projects, but there are projects that we know they are in-house projects, but then will be referred to province as if or as though that they were the province project. Now it seems like they are fraudulent this is becoming fraudulent because we don't have feedback. And it seems like since we are going to 24, now this seems to be like a sort of a campaign for to benefit your own, since now you want feedback and we are approaching 2024. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item will be Councillor Losi. You have 1 minute, please.
Nkosi Somlomo, singumbutho we-Democratic Alliance. Siyayixhasa pha utata u-Alderman Basil Petras. Sicela ke wonke ubani kwi-public nakulapha kwinkokheli onento ayibonayo uba inechaphaza aze ngaphambili azoripota, njengoba ke ugxa besetshilo wathi xa kukho chaphaza makuzwe ngaphambili abantu bakuthi umntu onechaphaza aripote.
Thank you, Speaker. We as a DA are in full support of the recommendation made by Alderman Petrus. And in the public, if you see that there are issues or there's a problem, please come forward and report so that it can be sorted out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That item therefore carries. The next item on the agenda is 8.5, the rescheduling of the library hours for George Library. The first person to speak on this is Councillor Adams.
Thank you, Speaker. The safety and security of our people is of paramount. On pages 269 to 273, the recommendation is made that the times be moved from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So I therefore recommend Council to please accept this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. There is no debate, and the last person to speak on this item is Councillor Neethling. You have 1 minute, please.
I second the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillors. Councillors, I'm going to ask that at this stage, we adjourn the meeting until 12:05. The reason being that the next item is approximately 10 minutes, just under 10 minutes long, and the power will be should be restored at 12 o'clock. And I don't want to be in the middle of the item when the power is restored. So I'm going to ask that we adjourn the meeting for 10 minutes, and I'm going to ask that we reconvene at 12:05, please. Thank you very much. This meeting is now adjourned until 12:05. Thank you.
But Speaker, you say 10 minutes.
Because now it's already 3 minutes.
Could I ask that corporate services please put the agenda back on the screen for us, please? My time is now 12:05, and we are going to recommence this meeting. I'm just waiting for corporate to put the item back on the screen, please.
Speaker, IT is in the process to get we back on screen. Thank you.
Okay, I'll give you a few seconds. Please just let me know when you're ready, and I'll wait until the items are back on the screen so we can continue, please.
I'll do so.
Can I continue, Rosemary?
Yes, Speaker, you can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosemary. As you will see, we now have a timer on the screen. So that will be started at every point. And I'm going to continue with item 8.6, Community Safety Plan for George Municipality. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor Clark. You have 3 minutes, please. Councillor Clark.
Sorry, Speaker, we cannot hear Councillor Clark. Can we just check? Is it on my side or is it all over?
Councillor Clark,
It's all
I can't
over.
hear you either. Okay, I can't hear Councillor Clark. Is it, you may be having problems to reconnect. Is there somebody else from the coalition that would like to start this so we can get moving on, please? Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Can we just confirm with Councillor?
Go ahead, please, Chief Whip.
I apologize. Good morning.
Sorry, Chief Whip, I'm going to stop you there. Councillor Clark has just arrived, just been able to re-log in. Could I also ask Corporate Services to start the clock when she starts talking, please?
Can I go ahead?
You may go ahead.
The Community Safety Plan is aimed at building networks and partnerships seeking to create an enabling environment within the region towards reducing and preventing crime, creating awareness amongst community members on the scope of community safety, and encouraging communities to take ownership of their neighborhoods through active participation in community safety issues. So, Speaker, this item was dealt with by the Mayoral Committee on 10 August 2023. And the recommendation then, which stemmed from that meeting, is that Council approve the Community Safety Plan and that any further updates on the plan is submitted to Council timelessly, with the amendment that the names in the Community Safety Plan be replaced with the job titles as per page 33 of the draft plan. Thank you. I therefore propose the recommendation. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Ntondini. Councillor Ntondini, sorry, could we just put the clock back to 2 minutes, please? Your time starts now.
Good morning once again, Speaker, but it's afternoon, it's not in the morning. The ANC supports the recommendations to approve the draft of the Community Safety Plan, and our support is based on the fear and challenges that our people are facing daily in their communities. Honestly speaking, Speaker, the police cannot fight crime alone. They need the support of the community at large. This is in order with the National Development Plan 2030 priorities, whereby education, safety and security, and employment are fundamental to prevent crime and violence. The launch of the Community Safety Forum and the formation of the Community Safety Steering Committee will play an important role in coming up with a strategic plan of how to prevent or protect the communities for George at large, to live in a safer environment. I hope all neighbors watches or crime prevention organizations of George are geographically represented in the formation of the CSF Steering Committee and not exclusive to the organizations that deal with family problems and GBV. Chair of the Portfolio Committee, Councillor Clark, it is time to implement this plan because people are not safe out there, and this plan will bring hope to the community of George. Speaker Ngus.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item will be Councillor Lowe, and your 2 minutes starts now.
Dankie, Speaker.
Sorry, it's 1 minute, sorry.
Speaker, ek wil graag baie dankie sê aan die amptenare vir hierdie safety plan. Nou kan almal presies sien die verskil in ons agtergebleide gebiede en ons ander areas. Die plan praat van kameras op busroetes as dit in algemeen opgesit is. Die kameras in die mooi areas waar oral opgesit word. Neem byvoorbeeld wijk 27 in die Breër-Pakkelsdorp wat groot probleme het met diere. Die plan sê daar word nog oorweeg. Intussen is die ongelukke met diere 'n groot risiko vir die inwoners. Daar is nog baie gevalle, maar tyd laat my nie toe nie. Ons is nie tevrede met die George Safety Plan nie. En ons wil liewes vra dat die direkteur die plan vir die raadslede kom voorlê en ons kan help. In die huidige vorm is die plan nie 'n plan nie. Baie dankie.
Thank you, Mr. Pullet.
Thank you, Speaker. Uthi ke iyabulela bona kwi-officials malunga nale safety plan, uthi ke iyachaza kakuhle futhi iyabonisa kakuhle uba kuza kwenzeka ntoni kwii-cameras ezikhoyo nakwi-bus routes, uthi iyabonakala kakhulu uba kwenziwa ntoni. Uthi kodwa sisenengxaki enkulu ye-accident ezithi zenzeke apha kwisixeko sethu saseGeorge. Uthi ke asikholisekanga ngokwaneleyo malunga nesicwangciso sokhuseleko esikhoyo salapha eGeorge, ngoko ke uthi ke asikholisekanga kodwa ke siyayibona le ngxelo.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Carolus. You have 2 minutes, please.
Ja, Speaker, dankie vir die geleentheid. Die PBI volstaan by hulle strekking, soos ons op vorige geleenthede gesê het. Ons het 'n sentrale polisie mag om wet en orde te handhaaf, en binne die strukture van die polisie mag is daar die CPF en verskeie ander strukture. Ons het ook munisipale strukture soos law enforcement om ons polisie mag te ondersteun. Die PBI vra vir 'n inclusive forum waaraan ons almal gaan kan deelneem en kan kyk na die beste vir ons gemeenskappe. Die George munisipaliteit se beste en sy grootste rol kan wees die skep van goeie infrastruktuur, beter plasing van gemeenskappe, sodat die polisie beter op hulle werk kan fokus, vir beter dienslewering om vinniger en gouer by ons mense uit te kom. Dankie, Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker. Uthi ke thina siyi-PBI simile ke kwinto yethu besiyithethile into yokubana okanye esi structure okanye le plan ikhoyo ibekiweyo apha phambi kwethu siyayibona, futhi ke sithi ke ngoku into yobana ukuba inokhona indlela enokuncedisana namapolisa, uthi zikhona ezinye indlela, mhlawumbi umzekelo i-law enforcement ezikhoyo apha ezincedisana namapolisa ekulweni obudlobongela. Uthi kodwa baye benoba khona i-forum enokubandakanya nathi ukuze nathi sizoncedisa ukuze sizokwenza isixeko sethu ibe sisixeko esikhuselekileyo kumntu wonke, ukuze sincedisane namapolisa nabantu bomthetho ukuze sizokwazi ukwenza isixeko sethu ibe sisixeko esikhuselekileyo kumntu wonke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paulus. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor Gulti. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. With this community safety plan, I'm hearing people are not pleased, and it is a great plan. Therefore, I want to support Councillor Clark and Ms. Meyering for presenting this draft community safety plan as version 2 from page 276 to page 336. As the community safety plan was formed in 19 April 2023 this year, with parties that involved to support it with the Department of Community Safety, that's now called the Police Oversight and Community Safety, SAPS Department, Social Department, and Neighbourhood Watches with the CPF and various others role players. Therefore, I'm very pleased to second the proposal by Councillor Clark. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. This item therefore carries. The next item on the agenda is for noting, and that is item 9, minutes of the Municipal Public Accounts Committee, impact on the 9th of May 2023 for information. Could that be noted, please?
Noted.
Noted, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Item 10 is the report of Municipal Public Accounts Committee of MPAC held on the 8th of August 2023. Item 10.1 is the quarter 2022-2023 fourth quarter internal audit report to MPAC, and the first person to speak on this item is Councillor Du Toit.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, in terms of the Act 79A 3B of the Local Government Municipal Structures Amended Act 2021, the impact must review internal audit report together with comments from the Management Committee and the Audit Committee and make recommendations to the Council. Now, Speaker, MPAC sat on this report and we've worked through it and scrutinized it. It's the fourth quarter internal audit report of April to June 2023. and we were satisfied that there was no critical matters to report to council. Therefore, I will propose the recommendations A and B as on page 363. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is the ANC, Councillor Lento. You have 2 minutes, please.
Mantatel tubanibulisa kusodolophu Speaker kunye noceba bonke belibhunga le-George Municipality.
Sorry, Councillor. Could I ask corporate, they have got the timing wrong and I don't want any misunderstanding. Can I please change the clock to 2 minutes? There is a clock on the screen. I'm just changing it so that you can see your time, please. Just wait until
Molweni somlomo nawe sodolophu. Ndibulisa kube naboceba bonke belibhunga lika-George Municipality. Thina sithi simkhongalosele ngale yophicotho ezincwadi lwangaphakathi kunye nezimvo zekomiti yophicotho ezincwadi kunye ke nezabalawuli sithi mayiqatshelwe. Enkosi. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings to everybody. We as the ANC, we say that the internal audit report, it should be noted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next party to speak on this is the Good Party, and we're going to have a first talking opportunity for Councillor Philander. We'd like to also welcome him. I forgot to welcome him to the council meeting. Councillor Philander, you have 30 seconds, please. Your time starts now.
Thank you, Speaker. Withdrawn.
Thank you very much. The next party to speak on this item is the EFF. Councillor Kampi, you have 1 minute. Sorry, corporate, it's 1 minute, not 2 minutes. Councillor Kampi, just hold on 1 second, please. Councillor Kampi.
Yes, Speaker.
Okay.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Speaker. I just want to concur with the Speaker that was portraying all this memorandum that it is non-scrutinized. The reason I'm saying that is scrutinized so that all the negative part cannot be seen by us as the opposition, so that we can see all the nice stuff, because we do know that as much as but 70% of the municipality does run the nice stuff, but there is underneath stuff that you guys are scrutinizing. That is very true, because as much as it may seem nice, but the thing is, we know that there is misuse of transport by your officials. Yeah, they are damaging the officials of traffic. They are damaging the transport. Yet, whenever reports are given, that we shall never seen and that shall never be said, which costs us unnecessary money to fix those cars that they are damaging, which is unnecessary and unlawfully. And yet, no steps shall be taken against those. So this municipality, that is why they want to keep us here in virtual meetings, so that we cannot see and hear everything that is going on in that building.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Kampi. Thank you, sir, councillors. Thank you. The last person to speak. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor Brown. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to support the recommendation made by my colleague. Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you very much. That item therefore carries. The next item on the agenda is item 10.2, which is the resubmission of the draft Municipal Public Accounts Committee impact terms of reference. And the first person to speak on this item is Councillor Du Toit. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you again, Speaker. Speaker, in accordance with Section 79(2)(a) of the Municipal Structures Act, Municipal Council must determine the functions of a committee. The terms of reference set out in specific responsibilities delegated by the Council to impact and spells out the manner in which impact will operate as the Council's oversight committee. And I want to stress this, that impact is accountable to Council and to nobody else. And that is why this draft, terms of reference, is so critical that we must adopt it, and with and adding the SALGA requirements applicable for it. So, Speaker, that's why I will propose the recommendations on page 387 and 388. A, B, and C, and that includes the recommendations from SALGA. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is the Good Party. They have 30 seconds, and it's Councillor Philander again.
Thank you, Speaker. Withdraw.
Thank you, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Gultig. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. I want to thank Councillor Toy for presenting us the impact terms of reference that will be added with recommendations from SALGA. Therefore, I'm happy to second the proposal made by Councillor Du Toit. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I just want to remind you to please watch your microphones. There are some people that are unmuting themselves unnecessarily. Thank you. We move on. That item therefore carries. We move on to item 11, which is the report to Council. And the first is the tabling of the adjustments budget by Alderman Alderman van Wyk. And you make the report.
Thank you, Speaker. It is indeed a pleasure to present this adjustments budget for tabling before Council. In terms of Regulation 23.5 of the Municipal Budget and Reporting Regulations, provision is made for rollover budgets to be presented to Council by the 25th of August every year in relation to the previous financial year. And what this in effect implies that where there are capital projects that are not completed by the end of the financial year, they can then be rolled into the new financial year for completion. Earlier, I had mentioned that we had received certain amounts by the 31st of March this year, which was the end of national financial year, where funds had then been transferred to us in terms of grants, which included the municipal disaster relief grant that was transferred to us of over 200 million. There was also a certain amount of funding of 134 million rand in terms of the RBIG that was transferred, and along with the PTNG, which is the Transport National Grant, which we have then received as well. Now, that total of those transfers and the rollover effect is 403 million, 0.699 million. And as a result thereof, we need to adjust our capital budget as well as our operating budget. And then we need to adjust the SD-BIB and our various tables. So I accordingly table this adjustment budget for adoption by Council. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mayor. The next person to speak on this item will be Councillor Johnson. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I firstly want to check if I'm audible.
You are, and your time is running.
Thank you. I want to thank the Mayor for tabling the adjustment budget and for the detailed explanation thereof. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to emphasize that the primary factors behind the adjustment is the timing of the Municipal Disaster Recovery Grant additionally, and late in the financial year, Treasury made available extra grants for the likes of civil engineering projects, which we had previously informed Council we would not be able to utilize within the designated time frame. If we look at the rollover of CRR, EFF and grants funded capital projects on page 399, the project listed in Annex A to the agenda are projects that could not be finalized by 30 June 2023. Although the procurement process has been concluded in many instances, the implementation of the projects is in progress and thus necessitate the rollover of the projects to the 2023-24 capital budget. The rollover of the capital projects for the 2022-23 budget is increased to the 2023-24 capital budget from 1,023 million to 1,426 million. Furthermore, the rollover of the SOA-funded operational projects is listed in Annex B to the agenda and are projects that could not be finalized by 30 June 2023. Although the procurement process has been concluded in many instances, the implementation of the project has been delayed and thus necessitate the rollover of the projects to the 2023-24 operational budget. I therefore propose that A, the capital budget for 2023-24 be adjusted to include the 2022-23 rollover project as per Annex A to the agenda, and B, that the operational budget for 2023-24 be adjusted to include the 2022-23 rollover projects as per Annex B to the agenda. C, that the Service Delivery and Budget Implementation Plan, or the SDBUP, be amended accordingly. And finally, D, that the formal budget tables be updated with the adjustment and submitted to national and provincial government. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Hani. You have 2 minutes, please.
Mandibulisa kusomlomo ne-fellow councillors zonke. Singu-ANC siyayichasisa le budget. Kodwa ke kuba ibenefit e-areas abantu bangathathi ntweni like iPakasdorp, iConville, iBotchas, ekulungisweni kwezitobmota nogutyulo lelindle nothutho lwenkunkuma. Kodwa ke imali ebibhajethelwe lento ibi-700 million and the only mali espendwe apha is 50% of ibudget yemali ebifanele uba ichithwe for abantu bakuthi. Sifuna uqonda ke ngoku enye imali le why ingaspendwanga kodwa bebhajethelwe loo nto. Ndiyabulela.
Speaker. We as the ANC, we are in support of this budget because it is made to benefit our disadvantaged areas, namely your Pakasdorp area, your Hembaletu and other disadvantaged areas. But the concern is 700 million rand was budgeted actually for this project, but it seems like only 50% was spent. So we want to know why was it only 50% spent and not all the budgeted money. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Follis. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Philander. You have 1 minute, please.
Speaker, rollover is a bad habit in this municipality. This council must be reminded that every time a project is rolled over or not implemented, it affects service delivery and people's lives. The item only says implementation delays, but does not specify what the delays are. Must we now accept that the delays is due to incompetence or corruption? Or what is the cause of the delays? The item must be clear why there is delays. We cannot accept a simple rollover. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Peterson. You have 2 minutes, please.
Mr. Mayor, the tabled adjustment budget refers. The amount tabled for this adjustment budget reflects a high percentage of the original approved budget. This is due to grants and funding received within the previous financial year with no realistic chance of being spent in that financial year due to the timing of the grants and funding received. One of the areas of concern is the amount for disaster funding or flood damage that was received. The communities that suffered during these floods, for which the funding was applied for, are still waiting with bated breath to receive the necessary relief. Instead, monies are spent in affluent areas, whilst the poorest of the poor are still suffering from damage to their properties. We notice that a small amount is budgeted for retaining walls in poor areas, while more than 5 times these amounts are used for reparations in affluent areas. Mr. Mayor, surely the damage was great in the poor areas due to the way in which houses in the poor areas are built. Something does not add up here. Mr. Mayor, in your tabled adjustment budget, we notice that luxuries are hidden, and some comments even make mention of funding that would be applied for in the current financial year. This exercise would place a further financial burden on the taxpayers of George that would have to be paid by future generations. We cannot overburden our taxpayers to the extent that tariffs will be raised exorbitantly to fund these additional loans. Mr. Mayor, we conclude that most of the projects not completed can be attributed to poor project management, bad planning, and the lack of desire to deliver services in our poor areas. Mr. Mayor, there is still a high reliance on consultants, which is not cost-effective to the municipality. We also notice that consultants are usually previous municipal employees rendering work for the municipality. In other words, people are leaving the municipality with contracts under their arm. Mr. Mayor, we notice that grant funding was received for relief during load shedding, yet this money could not be utilized for its intended purpose. This leaves a sour taste in the mouth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item, could I just ask, thank you. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Nkamile. You have 2 minutes, please. Your time started.
Enkosi Somlomo. Ndifuna ukuya kuwe Mr. Mayor. Maybe as understand ke lamagama kusetyenziswa wona apha. Thina siyi-EFF siyayi-rejecta ilantuzi adjustment budget. Eziba ke nezipiki esezithethile apha ke phambi kwam ziyicaciso kokuba zonke izinto ziyabukeka apha ephepheni. Xa kufuneka kwenziwe ku-implementiwe kuba nzima. Thina siyi-EFF Mr. Mayor sithi asiyixhasi le adjustment budget ngezizathu zokokuba yonke into kakufuneka yenzekile ayenzeki ngokwendlela le icwangciswe ngayo. Ukuya kwicala le-procurement nezi-roll over zenzekayo ziyachaza okokuba zonke ezi zinto azicwangciswanga ngokwethuba ukwenzela okokuba kuzawufumaneka ezi zinto zifunekayo ekuncediseni nokwenzeka ezi projekthi zibe yimpumelelo. Ndifuna ukuthi ke nakwicala le-oversight ayenzeki ngokwendlela ukuthi ensure ukuba i-executive yacomplya kunye neenjongo zomthetho nomgaqo-siseko osekuweyo for umasipalathi. So ndizama ukuthi ke Mr. Mayor siyayikhaba thina i-adjustment budget ngenxeni yezizathu zokokuba ewe ephepheni yona ibonakala intle kodwa kakufuneka i-implementiwe isacinezela ingakumbi abantu abamnyama. Kwicala labantu bebala siyayibona okokuba izinto ziyenzeka ngokwendlela, but kwicala labantu abamnyama ayenzeki ngokwezicwangciso ezizibekweyo apha ephepheni. Kungoko ke siyi-EFF siyikhaba singavumelani nayo i-adjustment budget. Ne-roll over ezenzekayo zichaza okokuba umasipala waseJoji akanazo injongo zokuthi alungise kwangethuba ingakumbi kwicala le-areas zabantu ke abamnyama nokuya ke kweza areas ingaphaya ngapha kwebridge oMabhakastolo. Siyabona uba kwicala ke lokuba kulinganwe umasipala usastrita ngendlela engeyiyo.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you very much, Councillor. The translation, please.
Thank you, Speaker. We as the EFF, we want to say, Mr. Mayor, maybe we do not understand. We do not understand the terminology used. We reject this adjustment budget because it actually looks very good on paper, but when it comes to implementation, it seems like there is no implementation done, especially when it comes to our areas. So we don't support this adjustment budget. You're talking about even when it comes to procurement and rollovers, these are not done timeously because it looks as if or if they were done on time, there were not going to be rollovers. So it means it shows that the municipality does not want or always wants these rollovers because they don't do it on time. And oversight does not happen accordingly, according to the municipalities, to the municipal act that is prescribed. Yes, it is very good on paper and it sounds very appealing, but when it comes to our people, it seems like it wants to oppress our people, our Black people, because these rollovers shows that there is no intention at all to fix our our areas on time, namely your Temalethu, your Packersdorp, and other disadvantaged areas. So what we want to say, yes, this adjustment budget looks good on paper, but when it comes to implementation, it's failing us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Apollos. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Alexander, as Councillor Smart is not present today. Councillor Alexander, you have 2 minutes. Councillor Alexander, your time has started. Councillor Alexander is not answering. I therefore presume he's either not in the meeting or he... Councillor Alexander, I'm going to move on. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Vessel. You have 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, yeah, I just would like to emphasize a couple of points mentioned. And I want to make Council aware of the fact that with this rollover, this capital budget now stands at just over 1.4 billion rand. Speaker, surely that speaks to the services that we want to deliver to the communities. Speaker, if we just move down from that and we then look at page 399, it does state that although procurement processes has been concluded in many instances, the implementation of these projects has been delayed, and this necessitates the certain of these rollovers. Council would remember that we received a form of fiscal dumping earlier this year, which we knew we weren't going to be able to spend when we follow due process in the supply chain system. Speaker, I then further want to go down and maybe look at some of the projects. And if we look at our streets and our stormwater, we look at the various streets, Rand Street, Nyakoni Street, Gulf Street, Tabata Street, all of these streets that are going to be done, that our work is currently in process, then we've got to say that this council is very much focused on delivering services, not only to a selected few, but to all the citizens of George Municipality. And it's sad to see that political parties are playing games when it comes to delivering services and not backing our administration to roll out these projects. I want to thank the administration for constantly looking at
Thank you, Councillor. Your time is up. Councillor, your time is up.
I'll second the recommendation. Thanks.
Thank you very much. That item therefore carries. The next item on the agenda is 11.2, IDP, PMS budget and SDF time schedule, process plan for 2023-24. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor Fichland. You have 3 minutes, please.
Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. Speaker, the purpose of this item in front of us is for Council to consider the timelines and schedules for the process plan for the IDP and PMS. And therefore, I propose the recommendations as it is in the item today in front of us for Council to accept and approve. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fichland. We move on to the next speaker. The next speaker on the item is Councillor Nkamila. You have 1 minute, please. Your time starting. Just let the clock first. Thank you. Your time starts now.
Ngosi Somlomo. Wesomlomo thina si-EFF sithathela ingqalelo i-item elapha phambi kwethu. Kodwa ke sifuna umlumkisa uGeorge Municipality ngelithi ezinto kabi xa ethe waya kwii-communities zethu zacwangciswa zabekwa phantsi zabekwa ne-priority list ngokomthetho nomgaqo-siseko ke kamasipala. Siyamcela umasipala makathi azenze izinto azibonileyo abantu bakuthi bathe bazibeka ephepheni ngenxenye yokuthi bayazifuna kwaye ke bayazilangazelela kwiilokishi abakuzo, especially izinto ezibekwa kwi-priority list. Then ke ngoku ezinye siyazi okokuba ziyakulandela. So sifuna ukuthi kumasipala ke simjongile, makangadlali ngabantu bethu, enze by the way, aye kubo athi mababeke izinto zabo bazicwangcise, awugqiba yena angabuyeli kuze ngokuthi a-implement. Enkosi.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Speaker.
Policy.
We as the EFF will take note of the item, but what we want to warn is that please, whenever you go to meetings with our people, and when you come to explain about these things, there are things that are called priority list, of which our people, they request and they tell you what is their priorities in their areas. We will ask you to please consider what has been placed on priority list, because we don't want it to sound as if you are playing with our people for them to be writing what is or giving you what is on their priority list, but then you end up not delivering what is expected. Please make preference of what's on the priority list, and other requested things then should follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Policy. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor Simmers. You have 1 minute, please.
I second the above mention. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Simmers. The item therefore carries. The next item on the agenda is 11.3, the bridge finance towards capital projects funded from external loans and grants. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor von Branders. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Speaker. As we all know, our budget is made up of different funding sources, some own funds, EFF, grants, and of course loans. For us to ensure that our project rolls out as fast as possible, we request that the following item be approved. It seeks approval from Council to use bridge financing, aka internal funds, towards capital projects funded from external loans and grants. First, the total external financing required for 23-24 period is 374 million. The necessary supply chain management will obviously follow shortly. In the interim, we plan capital projects need to continue until such time as additional external financing is secured. Secondly, the following grants will also be funded from internal generated funds until such time that the rollover process has been concluded in terms of National Treasury. I therefore recommend the recommendation on page 449. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Hani. You have 2 minutes.
Kwakhona somlomo ne u-11.3 uyafana no-11.1 imali why ilantika kukhona i-provide ngoko i-funding for i-budget yayibhajethelwe kwiminyaka emine kwanye emihlanu eyagqithayo. Why kukhona ilanikwayo ngoku kuba lo nyaka uzayo kuzawuvotwa? Enkosi.
Thank you, Speaker. 11.3 is exactly the same as 11.1 because this money was money that was budgeted in 4 to 5 years back. But it seems like only now funds are going to be used. Why do you want to use it now that we are approaching 2024 elections? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paulus. The next person to talk on this item is Councillor Foster. You have 1 minute, please. Councillor Foster. I'm going to ask Councillor Lowe, can somebody please advise, can we go ahead with the next speaker, please? I'm getting a response from Councillor Foster.
Hello, Speaker. Speaker, ek dink as fout met haar advice.
Okay, if you can go ahead.
Die raad moet asseblief duidelik wees. Aan die ander kant vra ons dat daar 'n rollover moet wees, wat beteken ons finaliseer nie projekte nie. En aan die ander kant vra ons geld van interne fondse waar ons grant funding moes gebruik het. Wie is nou verantwoordelik vir die situasie? En tweedens, die departemente en die hooggeplaatste direkteure moet mos nou uitgewys word, wat nie perform nie. As dit weer kom by bonus kry, dan maar weer 100%. Hierdie is die realiteit van die DA se beheer. Dankie.
Thank you, Speaker. Uthi ke i-rollover projects azigqitywa azifinalizwa into ethetha ukuthi kunomsebenzi okanye kuneemali ezilinda ixesha elithile phambi kokuba zigqitywe singayazi into yobana imali xa ikhona kutheni ingasetyenziswa isetyenziselwe le nto ibikhutshelwe yona. Uthi ke ngoku luxanduva kwabantu aqinisekisa ukubana zonke iimali ezikhoyo ziyasetyenziswa ukwenze zingawelelwa kwixesha elizayo. Into ethetha ukuthi loo nto leyo ii-officials okanye ii-departments zifumana nje imali zifumane nee-bonus ngoba into ethetha ukuthi i-reality okanye into esijongene nayo into yobana akusetyenzwa kodwa izinto ziyagcinwa for ixesha elithile.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Peterson. You have 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, the item that serves now is an item that will take the municipality a tricky and slippery slope. This item seeks approval for council for bridging finance, while council is already indebted for an exorbitant amount of loans. Surely we cannot be seeking additional loans whilst we have enough monies in the CRR to this effect. Mr. Speaker, the reason why we are in this dilemma is due to the following. Grant funding were received late in the previous financial year with no realistic chance of being spent at the financial year end. Fiscal dumping took place, and we as the PBI warned you of this consequence on numerous occasions. Poor project management and planning. There are numerous projects that could have been planned better in order to ensure that the necessary funding would be spent by the end of the financial year. The adjustment budget for February 2023 had the purpose to shift funds from projects in the poor areas to projects in the affluent areas. Here we are reminded of the shifting of funds for the Pakkersdorp Stadium roof and the Rosemont track to projects for Outeniqua Park. Amounts received for the electricity crisis in our country could not be utilized, yet the ruling party thrives on this item during campaigns, blaming the government for not solving this issue. Mr. Speaker, we are strongly of the opinion that if funds were better utilized for the intended purpose, we would not be in this situation. The excess of conditional grant funding should be utilized for its intended purpose and not to service the nice-to-have projects in affluent areas, but should be used to alleviate the plight of the poor. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Smart, who is Councillor Alexander in place of Councillor Smart. Councillor Alexander, are you going to say anything? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. 2 minutes, here you go.
Speaker, ons kan dit maar aan laat gaan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. He has said we can proceed. Thank you. Thank you. Councillors, please watch your microphones. Thank you. I've noted. Going to move on to the next speaker. We are going to move on to the next speaker, who is Councillor Wessels. You have 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Yeah, certainly some interesting comments from the other councillors. Firstly, this municipality do not refuse grants. Even though we received 400 million rand from NT at the end of March, we know we received these grants because other municipalities are inadequate and is not able to spend their money. Another prime example is that we applied immediately after the disaster for the disaster funding, but we only received those grants 16 months afterwards. We speak about, or mention was made about bad planning. This is an item that seeks exactly the opportunity to plan so that projects can move ahead without delays, so that we can deliver services to the poorest of the poor. So it would be interesting to understand the logic behind some of the other councillors' comments. So with that said, I would like to second Councillor von Brande's proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Wessels. The item therefore carries, and we are going to move on to item 11.4, municipal contract in terms of Section 33 of the MFMA, establishment of the Garden Route District Municipality Regional Landfill Site. This item, the first person to speak on the item is Councillor Suffers. You have 3 minutes, please.
Good day, Speaker. Thanks for this opportunity. This item, Section 33, is about entering into a long-term agreement contracting in relation to the establishment of a Garden Route Regional Waste Facility site. Now, Speaker, Council approved that we conduct a public participation process as per the MFMA, and now we're tabling the outcomes of this process and request Council to approve the process. Speaker, therefore, as prescribed in the recommendations on page 459, I would like to propose Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Hani. You have 1 minute, please.
Ndiyabulisa kakhona Speaker. Lento le item sixoxa kuyo namhlanje apha ngoku yinto yayiqoqwe kudala ngaphambili, amaxabiso sesezantsi. Kukhona ngoku sifuna uyibuyisela ngoku. Izinto sezinyukile. Loo nto ibonakalisa ukuthi urhulumente okanye ulawulo lwe-Democratic Alliance aluzinzanga luyeqeqe. Siyacela mabangachithi kakhulu imali zabanantike zababuthi berhafu. Enkosi.
Thank you, Speaker. This item that we are bringing today was previously discussed while prices were still lower, but I see it is brought up today because prices have changed. Prices are much higher, which shows that the DA-led government, I would say, or DA-led municipality is not steady. So now we have to come back and discuss this item that was previously discussed before.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paulus. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Peterson. Councillor Peterson, you have 2 minutes, please.
Mr. Speaker, we as the PBI are in favour that a contract be concluded within the specified timeframe, as it is of utmost environmental importance that this facility is established. This issue has been dragging on for far too long, whilst environmental issues are compounding in George. We believe that George municipality must take up its rightful place as part of the municipalities with the establishment of this facility. We believe that the necessary processes has been followed from the Garden Route District Municipality side to establish this facility, and that the final process needs to be concluded as soon as possible. Mr. Speaker, this process for the establishment of the landfill site has been coming on for some time, and it needs to be concluded as it will be too costly for George municipality to establish such a facility on its own. We do, however, hope that all the necessary conditions will be of benefit to all of our ratepayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peterson. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Clumpy. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, we are taking this project, this contract in consideration. We just want to say when this mouthful pot is being dished out, please don't forget the poor of the poorest people, so that they can be part of this contract, so that they can also benefit. And also, secondly, I want to correct the wording on page 458, Speaker. It's supposed to be the total amount of is written wrongly. Supposed to be counted, supposed to be 334,000, not 33. You must just check the just go there and just check and just correct that. Thank you, Speaker. They say 33 is supposed to be 34,000, 334,000 after the millions.
Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. And I'm going to ask that that be noted and then corrected by the department. Thank you, Councillor Comfy. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Windfire. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. I second Jean Cyper's proposal, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. That item therefore carries. The next item on the agenda is 11.5, which is the Garden Route Regional Waste Management Facility increase in construction cost. The first person to speak on this item is Councillor Brown. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Speaker. The purpose of this report is to inform Council regarding the Garden Route Regional Waste Management Facilities price increase in construction costs. During a George Council meeting on 30 June 2023, Council resolved to commit to participate in this regional landfill site. The concerns raised was included as conditions in this commitment. The appointed contractor, the Tesla Group, entered into a service agreement with Garden Route District Municipality on 17 April 2023 at a contract price of just over 188 million rand. On 28 July 2023, Garden Route informed George Municipality that Tesla indicated that due to cost increases, the initial tendered price is not commercially viable. They submitted a final offer of just over 319 million, which is over 31 million more than the initial price. I therefore propose the recommendation as set out on page 582. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Hani. You have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, Speaker. We as ANC, we are fully support the increase of this project, and we'd like to see the implementation as soon as possible, because this project is going to benefited the entire George, and we also thank the district municipality to support this. I thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is Councillor Lowe. You have 30 seconds.
Speaker, I think I'll withdraw. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is the PBI, as Alderman Gericke is not present. Is somebody going to take his place?
Ja, Speaker, Councillor Perwille sal sy plek neem.
Go ahead.
Ja, Speaker, die PBI is ten gunste van die landfill site en dat iets moet begin gebeur. Die PBI wil ook net highlight is al 'n hele paar jaar terug begin is. Befondsing was verkry van 'n distriksmunisipaliteit om hierdie prosesse te begin. En is vir ons swaar om te glo dat hierdie prosesse so sloer. Die sloer van hierdie prosesse het 'n groot negatiewe impak op ons gesondheidssituasie. En as George Municipaliteit voor tot die party gekom het, sou kostes baie laer gewees het. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you,
Speaker. Uthi thina siyi-PBI sifaphele i-highlight futhi neminyaka eqalile ngayo le project bemi bakudala iqalile futhi ke i-funding yafunyanwa kumasipala waseGarden Route. Uthi kodwa ngumasipala waseGeorge oye warhuqa unyawo kule nkqubo yonke uba mayixabise olu hlobo ngoku, ngoba ukuba sasiyiqala kudala ngeyingasibizi le mali isibiza yona ngoku. Enkosi.
Thank you very much. The next person to speak on this item is the PA, Councillor Alexander. Councillor Alexander, can I continue? I'm going to give you a last chance to answer. Thank you very much. I'm going to take that as an opportunity.
Hello.
Yes, Councillor Alexander. Councillor Alexander. Okay, I'm going to have to move on, unfortunately. Thank you very much. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor Suffers. You have 1 minute, please.
Yes, Speaker, I just like to, as a well-run municipality, I would like just to draw a few things to the attention of my colleagues that is in support, Speaker, that as this municipality, we consider a lot of factors like your realistic requirements, your finance viability, your customer viability, and that of a municipality. And internal adjustment mechanisms, that's just part of the things that we consider. And I must say that the decisions that is been taken was actually discussed by a Forum, and I think we should, and that's why I'm drawing the attention of this council to the fact that council makes decisions on behalf of what should happen, Speaker, and therefore I will second the proposal of my colleague, Councillor Brown. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. That item therefore carries. Councillors, I'm going to draw your attention to the fact that there were two items that were circulated late, two late items circulated. The first one I'm debating whether I should actually present it today, which is item 11.6, is the determination of the upper limits of salaries, allowances and benefits of different members of municipal councils. I'm going to ask Councillor Alderman van Wyk whether you'd like to bring that into council, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, this item deals with the determination of upper limits of salaries, allowances and benefits of municipal councils. And this is a belated increase that has come through on our salaries. And this is for the period of the financial year for 22-23. So in other words, from July last year to June this year, where that increase has only come through, and that increase is of the order of 3.8 to 4%. That has been applied to us, and I believe that it is an item of no debate, so I so propose. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman. The next person to speak on this item will be Councillor Fischland. You have 1 minute, please.
Speaker, thank you. Speaker, I second the proposal and I ask that the MM be excused to send the documentation onto the MEC for his attention. Thank you, Speaker.
It's nice that we can laugh about it, but thank you very much, Councillor. That I'm sure that there will be no debate on that at all. Thank you. That item therefore carries. Councillors, we've also received an item 11.7, which refers to the donation of redundant movable assets to Swellendam Municipality. I'm going to ask Alderman van Wyk to that he can have 2 minutes to bring that item into council.
Thank you, Speaker. This item relates to a request from Swellendam Municipality for any assistance on movable assets that we could possibly donate to them. I think as council will be aware, there was a fire that resulted from a protest march in Swellendam on the 16th of August. And as a result of that fire, the entire municipal building was burnt down, including all their records, all their furniture. And both the municipal manager and myself have been in contact almost on a daily basis with Swellendam in trying to offer them support and assistance. And they have requested if we could possibly help with any furniture or equipment, office equipment. We had an auction towards the end of the previous financial year in which we sold off various bits of office furniture and redundant computers. And we now have a few pieces of equipment that are still available that is listed in the annexure. and therefore in the spirit of assistance and cooperation with the municipalities who are in such a predicament, we are therefore recommending that we donate such equipment to them so that they can try and get themselves back on their feet as soon as possible. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Alderman van Wyk. As this item was distributed late, I am going to give the opportunity for anyone to make a remark from the other parties. If you could raise your hand, and I will take it that you'd like to say something in this regard, bearing in mind that I'm going to give you basically 30 seconds to say something as a matter of transparency and fairness. So if you'd like to, I'm seeing thumbs up from various people. So can I consider this then as a no debate? And I have no hands. I'm therefore going to say thank you very much. The last person to speak on this item is Councillor Fichland. You have 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Speaker. I second the proposal made by Alderman van Wyk.
Thank you very much. Councillors, we then will, that item is therefore carried. We move on to item 12, which is the motions or proposals deferred from previous meetings. I have received none. New motions, I have received none. And then we move on to item 14, matters of discretion of the Speaker. Councillors, I would like to ask you at this stage that I believe the Mayor has an item to bring in. However, I do have to ask, it was brought to my attention during the break in between the load shedding switching on, that the minutes of the previous meeting, there is a correction to be made. It does not, and I have taken this under consideration, does not affect the content of the minute. It is merely the numbering, which would then affect the annexures to the minutes. And I'm going to ask that you look in the chat box to the change of the numbering, as this item was seconded in the beginning of the meeting. I do have to bring to your attention that we need to then take corrective action and to make sure that that is correct. So I'm going to give you just a second to check in the chat box. You can see there that E becomes F. That is the only difference, and that or the biggest difference there. But please just check that, and I'm going to ask that we therefore have that proposed and seconded on that the change of the numbering, please. Could I have a proposer and a seconder, please?
I will propose, Mr. Speaker.
I will second. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your. Thank you. So thank you very much. That is therefore corrected. I'm going to move on with that, and I'm going to ask that Alderman van Wyk please enter the matter at the discretion of the Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to bring to Council's attention that there will be a SALGA National Conference being held from the 4th through the 6th of September, and we will be having 2 delegates going to this conference, being the Deputy Executive Mayor, Councillor Ruben Fichland, and the Speaker, Councillor Sean Snyman. We have been requested to nominate our voting delegate at that conference, and I'm proposing that our voting delegate is the Deputy Executive Mayor, Councillor Fichland. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I have a seconder to that proposal, please?
Barnard will second it for you, Speaker.
Thank you. We therefore take that as duly passed, and we therefore move on to, in fact, that brings us to the end of, hold on, let me just check here. Sorry. Yeah, that brings us to the end of the open committee, open council for today. I'm going to ask, as it is now 1:15, and it falls during our lunchtime. If we have an adjournment of, could we say 20 minutes? I think let's have a break. Let's make it half an hour, because then obviously you can go out and get something to eat. If we can restart at 1:45, that gives us half an hour for lunch. So we're going to adjourn this meeting. I'm going to ask that the YouTube channels get turned off, and that we reconvene at 1:45. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.